Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump says he has cancelled the second wave of attacks on Venezuela as Caracas begins releasing political prisoners. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei addresses the nation on television as Tehran blacks out the internet to curb expanding protests. The Ministry of External Affairs says that India does not recognize so-called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Says the entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are integral and inalienable part of India. US President Donald Trump has cancelled a previously expected second wave of military attacks on Venezuela following cooperation from the South American nation. Trump said that the US and Venezuela were working well together, adding that at least $100 billion would be invested by the big oil companies in Venezuela. He added, however, that all oil tankers in Venezuela will stay in place for safety and security purposes. The President said that Venezuela was releasing a large number of political prisoners as a sign of seeking peace. Now, the US President Donald Trump on Thursday said that it's up to Chinese President Xi Jinping to decide what China does on Taiwan, but warned that he would be very unhappy with any change in the status quo. Trump's remarks came during an exchange about what lessons Xi Jinping might draw from his military operation in Venezuela. President Trump also said that he did not view the situations as analogous because Taiwan did not pose the same type of threat to China that he has said the government of Nicolas Maduro had posed to the United States. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei insisted that the Islamic Republic would not back down in the face of protests. The country saw the biggest rallies yet in almost 2 weeks. This is a movement that is sparked by anger over rising cost of living. But Khamenei struck a defiant note and, in fact, in his tone, in his first comments on the protests that have been escalating since January 3, calling the demonstrators vandals as well as saboteurs in a speech which was broadcast on state television. The demonstrations represent one of the biggest challenges yet to the Islamic Republic in its over 4.5 decades of existence, with protesters openly calling for an end to the theocratic rule. At least 6 flights between Dubai and the Iranian cities scheduled for Friday were cancelled, the Dubai airport website had shown. And US President Donald Trump, meanwhile, threatened to take severe action against Iran if its authorities start killing people. During an interview with a radio host, Donald Trump warned that Washington would hit them very hard. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met on Friday with his Lebanese counterpart Youssef Raji in Beirut and with the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun at the presidential palace in Babda. Araghchi, speaking during a press conference upon his arrival in Lebanon on Thursday, said that the purpose of his visit was to discuss Israel's challenges and threats to regional security as well as expanding bilateral ties. The US Supreme Court is set to deliver a key verdict on President Donald Trump's tariffs. The court is examining whether the Trump administration had the authority to impose tariffs under the International the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Another major issue is whether the US government must refund importers who have already paid these duties if the court finds the action unlawful. The court has several options available before them, and they could first limit the use of emergency powers under the Act and order only partial repayment of tariffs. However, if the White House loses this case, The Trump administration may also have other legal ways to impose tariffs without relying on emergency powers. The decision could have wide implications for U.S. trade policy and fiscal situation. In another update, the Russian Foreign Ministry said that the United States had released 2 Russian crew members from a Russian-flagged oil tanker that Washington seized earlier this week. American authorities said the tanker was part of a shadow fleet used to transport oil for countries like Venezuela, Russia and Iran, bypassing U.S. sanctions. The ship was seized in the North Atlantic even though it was being escorted by the Russian Navy. Russian forces on Friday launched a massive overnight attack on Ukraine, firing the rare Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic missile at a gas facility near Lviv and bombarding Kiev with drones and missiles. 4 people died in the capital, including a medic, with 24 injured as apartment blocks were damaged. Half of Kiev's buildings lost heating amid extremely cold temperatures, prompting Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko to urge residents who are able to leave temporarily to do so. The Ukrainian President Zelensky has demanded a strong international response, especially from the United States, after Moscow rejected Western peacekeeping proposals. Germany has condemned Russia's firing of the hypersonic missile at Ukraine in the strongest possible terms and has reaffirmed its commitment to fully support Kiev. The European Union member states, they approved the long-delayed Mercosur trade pact on Friday. The pact gives Brussels the green light to sign an accord championed by business groups but loathed by many European farmers. A majority of the European Union's 27 nations voted in favor of the pact at an ambassadors' meeting in Brussels, despite opposition from France, Ireland and others concerned about the impact on the agricultural sector. The pact creates a massive free trade zone for over 700 million people after 25 years of negotiations. The deal eliminates tariffs on over 90% of the goods, saving EU businesses €4 billion yearly and boosting exports amid global challenges. Supporters, including Germany, Spain and now Italy, emphasize industrial benefits. However, France's President Macron vowed opposition, calling it outdated and citing farmer fears for cheap South American imports. Meanwhile, protests saw tractors blockade Paris landmarks, with similar actions in Belgium. Opponents like Ireland and Poland also warn of agricultural harm despite concessions. Farmers in Poland staged protests in the capital Warsaw against the EU trade deal with the South American bloc Mercosur. Moving on to other news now. In a weekly press briefing by the Ministry of External Affairs in India, the spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal addressed the media. He referred to the U.S. Commerce Secretary's remarks, and Jaiswal said that since the 3rd of February last year, India and the United States have held multiple rounds of negotiation and have been close to a deal. He highlighted that characterization of these discussions in the reported remarks is not accurate.
We have seen the remarks. India and the United States were committed to negotiating a bilateral trade agreement with the U.S. as far back as 13th of February last year, that is. Since then, 2 sides have held multiple rounds of negotiations to arrive at a balanced and mutually beneficial trade agreement. On several occasions, we have been close to a deal. The characterization of these discussions in the reported remarks is not accurate. We remain interested in a mutually beneficial trade deal between 2 complementary economies and look forward to concluding it. Incidentally, Prime Minister and President Trump have also spoken on phone on 8 occasions during 2025, covering different aspects of our wide-ranging partnership.
Speaking on incidents of rising Chinese aggression in the region, the MEA spokesperson said that India has never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement of 1963 and asserted that Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory.
Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese authorities several times. We have consistently protested with the Chinese side against attempts to alter the ground reality in Shaksgam Valley. We further reserve the right to take necessary measures to safeguard our interests.
On Chinese military exercise near Taiwan, the MA spokesperson said that India closely follows the developments across the Indo-Pacific region and urges all concerned parties to exercise restraint.
India closely follows developments across the Indo-Pacific region. We have an abiding interest in peace and stability in the region in view of our significant trade, economic, people-to-people and maritime interest. We urge all concerned parties to exercise restraint, eschew unilateral actions and resolve all issues through peaceful means without threat or use of force.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Storm Goretti causes widespread outages in Manche region of France. Spanish police arrest 34 people in a nationwide operation against an international crime ring, which is known as the Black Axe. Prasar Bharati launches Creators Corner on DD News to empower digital creators nationwide.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse. Is the United States China's debt trap strategy? Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. Strong winds swept across France on Friday as Storm Goretti battered northern Europe, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of homes. Power distributor Enedis said that around 380,000 households, they were left without electricity, with the worst impact felt in Normandy and Brittany. The storm also caused widespread disruption on the ground. Fallen trees blocked roads in Orderville, while fierce winds, they lashed the Gowrie Lighthouse in La Hague. Authorities in the Manche department, they moved swiftly to clear the debris and also to restore normalcy as the conditions gradually eased. The Spanish police have arrested 34 people in a nationwide operation against an international crime ring, which is known as Black Axe, on accusations of fraud, money laundering and document forgery. Black Axe originated in Nigeria as a student confraternity, and that happened in the late 1970s and has then since evolved into a structured, violent criminal organization dealing mainly with cyber-enabled financial crime. Europol said that the operation was coordinated with authorities in Germany as part of a wider investigation. The organized crime network allegedly recruited money mules, mind you, in impoverished areas of Spain with high unemployment rates. The investigators estimate that the network had defrauded its victims of more than $6.8 million. The U.S. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held high-level discussions with EU Trade and Economy Security Commissioner Maros Sefcovic on advancing a mutually beneficial free trade agreement. These talks focused on key areas of the proposed pact, emphasizing a rules-based trading system and modern economic ties. Both sides committed to protecting farmers and the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, while also integrating Indian industries into global supply chains. So this meeting, what it does is it builds on the ongoing efforts to strengthen India-EU relations amid global trade challenges. Piyush Goyal shared highlights on social media platform X, underscoring bilateral cooperation. During the ongoing Somnath Swabhiman Parv, devotees from across the country are making their way to the sacred land of Somnath. Now, DD India correspondent Siddharth Bharadwaj spoke to some of the visitors, and they expressed their happiness at getting this opportunity to visit Somnath during such a prestigious occasion. And they praised the development of the region under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Year 2026 is very significant for Somnath Temple. I'm here standing on the sacred land of Somnath, and behind me is Somnath Temple, standing tall and rock solid. And it's significant because it's been 1,000 years since the first attack happened on Somnath Temple, and after that many attacks happened. But the resolve, the grit, the zeal of the people made sure that this temple is rebuilt and reconstructed and rejuvenated. I have with me some people here. How are you feeling coming here today?
Actually, it's nice to be here, and at least at this time we got to know here that is our 1,000th year after the formation of this temple, so it's already very glorious moment, I think, and the decorations and everything is splendid and everything, and I think all the arrangements are also very nicely done. You can go in there, you can have the darshan, I think very arranged and easily accommodated. Everything is quite nice here.
This beautiful ocean, sparkling like a diamond, and I'm here for the meditation camp as well. We have no idea this is this time happening, so it isn't a coincidence, and we are thrilled and our heart is full that we are here. And because of Modi ji, we are able to see such beauty over here of flowers and everything. That's extremely beautiful and heart-warming. I really loved it.
People here are coming from all walks of life, in fact from every corner of the country, and they are hailing the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they are saying that they're feeling really happy that they have come here, and especially when the Somnath Swabhiman Parv is going on, which honors in fact the supreme sacrifices of the warriors who stood against the barbaric invasion, and with their extreme zeal and grit and absolute resolve, they made sure that every time the temple is attacked, every time it was rebuilt, rejuvenated and reconstructed. And they are also hailing the eternal legacy of Sanatan Dharma. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Somnath, Gujarat.
Well, the Secretary in the Department of Financial Services, M. Nagaraju, said that the Indian Banks Association has brought together the entire banking technology ecosystem at a time when the sector is making significant investments to stay future ready. The conference is being held under the theme Responsible and Resilient Banking in the Age of AI. Addressing the IBA's 21st Annual Banking Technology Conference, Expo and Citations 2024-25, Nagaraju said that the age of artificial intelligence presents both opportunities and challenges, making responsible and sustainable banking more important than ever. Nagaraju said that AI and generative AI, they can play a transformative role in expanding affordable banking, combating fraud and bringing the unbanked into the formal system, building on initiatives like the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, among others.
Financial sector across the world are moving ahead to adopt the AI Gen AI in their processes. The investment in these technologies, including the peripheral infrastructure like data centers, is unprecedented. Sooner or later, these techs must be adopted by financial institutions in India, without which we will stay behind in the race to innovation. The RBI is incorporating AI-specific guidelines in its various master directions in the recent times and had come up with Free AI, framework for responsible and ethical enablement of artificial intelligence. The role of AI, Gen AI, would be vital to scale up and improvise existing tech platforms and in shaping the ecosystem of financial sector. You are all the brightest set of leaders, and the responsibility to drive the vision of Viksit Bharat lies on your shoulders.
Well, Nagarajan noted that the Indian banking sector remains stable, with gross NPAs at around 2.2% and return on assets at 1.3%. The Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Ashwini Vaishnav, along with the Minister of State, L. Murugan, on Friday launched Creators Corner on DD News, which is a special program dedicated to content creators. The inaugural ceremony featured a welcome address by Prasar Bharati's Chief Executive Officer and remarks by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Secretary Sanjay Jaju. Inspired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to encourage the content creators' economy, the show, it provides a national platform, in fact, for creators from diverse regions and topics. The initiative aims to promote the digital economy by encouraging the creation of quality content and expanding its reach through a partnership between Prasar Bharati and individual content creators. Creators Corner will feature content on a wide range of themes, including news and current affairs, culture, travel, cuisine, art and literature, music and dance, health and wellness, education, science and technology, inspiring stories, environment and sustainable development, and entertainment. It will air from Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and they'll have repeats as well. Officials who were present at this event, they praised this initiative, and this is an initiative that bridges creators with public broadcasting.
तो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हर सेक्टर में रिफॉर्म्स के लिए हमको इंस्पायर करते हैं. उसी कड़ी में आज क्रिएटर्स कॉर्नर लॉन्च हुआ है. ये नई शुरुआत के लिए दूरदर्शन को, प्रसार भारती को, INB मिनिस्ट्री को और सभी क्रिएटर साथियों को अभिनंदन. हम लोगों का करीब टारगेट है क्रिएटर इकोनॉमी में 1 करोड़ नौजवान जुड़े. 1 करोड़ यूथ will be connected through creators economy. एक तरीके से ये नया एम्प्लॉयमेंट की अपॉर्चुनिटी बनेगी.
India's two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu progressed to the semi-final of the Malaysia Open after opponent, third seed Akane Yamaguchi of Japan, retired midway because of an injury on Friday. In the solitary set that the world numbers 18 and 3 competed in the quarterfinals, Sindhu quickly reached 21-11 in 12 minutes before Yamaguchi asked the chair umpire that her injury is hampering her movement and that she could no longer continue. Earlier on Thursday, Sindhu defeated the 8th seed Tomoka Miyazaki of Japan in the second round on Thursday. The former champion Stan Wawrinka was handed a wild card on, this is for the 2026 Australian Open in his final season. He's 40 years old, mind you, Wawrinka of Switzerland, and he will be playing his last season before retiring. The 3-time Grand Slam champion won the first of his 3 majors at Melbourne in 2014, during which he peaked to world number 3 and reached 2 other semi-finals, while home favourite Nick Kyrgios said that he will play only the doubles. The final 3 wildcards went to the 3-time Grand Slam winner, Wawrinka, as we said, and Australians Jordan Thompson and Chris O'Connell. The Grand Slam starts on January 18. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app, available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code, download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.